Friends and family, to another episode of The Refined Alchemist. As always, I got a bunch of different things to talk about, and I'm going to jump around a lot. So I'm going to do things a little bit different. First, my turpentine. Now, if you're sick with Morgellons, the turpentine, it's going to be your best friend, because it's going to kill the hardest of the hard, the fungus. Okay? I have a couple people questioning about, I don't know. Listen, I've been taking it for 4 months. 4 months. Okay? It is not going to kill you. So, now I have a video of remedies that I quickly talk about it. And I have another video called Morgellons Help on how I prepare it. Tony Panteleresco also has a video healing with turpentine. Nice glob, right? So I said I was going to do something different. Usually right now, I would pray. Hold on. Seems like everybody's getting sick now. But I get into that in a minute. Okay, so the prayer, right? So today's prayer, it's going to be a legit prayer, but it's going to be actually a poem that I wrote. I like writing poetry. It's like one of the few times that I get to express myself through words. Now, I like to play with words a lot, especially in my poetry, so sometimes it's kind of a tongue twister. So you gotta bear with me on this one. Alright. Dear Father, I come to you in these trying times, and only ask to see past the lies. For strength and guidance in the words I speak, for salvation is also what I seek. And walk with me, O Father, when I am weak, and guide my steps when the worlds get steep. And please, Father, wake me further if I'm still asleep. Father, I see now why Christ spoke in parables. In life, there's way too many damn variables. And dear Father, the rules have changed. Can't you see, Father, the game's not the same. You have watched this time after time. I remember it once, and once is fine. And too many more, and I too may lose my mind. Father, can't you see that humans are mean? And Father, can't you see all the good suffering? Listen closely, for their souls are screaming. Everyone's looking, just not saying. Father, please give me the knowledge to me, and let me see what I need to see. Father, can't you see what's happened to me? And Father, remember, I didn't ask for this. This gift is a curse and is not bliss. Making me watch this evil makes me pissed, looking back at the life I missed. Why, Father, must I bear witness? And why, Father, have I become sick? Forgive me, Father, for any of my sins. I too was asleep when I did what I did. Wish I could go back and do it again, knowing what I know now, then. Things might be different for a change. Nope. So all's left strife and pain. So Father, I ask you as I pray. So Father, I ask this of you, as I pray to every one of you. Please, Father, let them all see. Let them see behind the scenes. And Father, let them all see. Life's nothing but a movie on the big screen. And Father, as for me, Let me be what I was intended to be. So finally, Father, let this life just end. And please, Father, bring all your children home again. Amen. Now, the very last line in that one, so finally, Father, let this life just end. That's not saying like I want to die or any of that crazy stuff, but in any way, shape, size, or form, a spiritual awakening, you're awakening to the bullshit, or your life does end. Yeah, your life does kind of end. Because when you're spiritually awakened, your whole life changes. And yeah, it's pretty much a rebirth. Opinions, points of view, perspectives, all that shit changes. Right? Now, interesting thing about that poem is that poem is also on my YouTube channel under the discussion part. Unfortunately, if you're on a phone or a tablet, you won't be able to see it. But if you actually go on a computer and you go to the discussion, I have several poems that I've wrote, over the years. One of my poems, which I'm not going to read, is going to be aired on a big channel, hopefully soon. I don't know when. I just got a message of it yesterday that it was going to be used. I couldn't believe it either. I was like, wait a second. That'd be cool. They're even going to add imagery to it. Again, these poems, including the one that's going to be aired, is off the discussion in my channel. One of my other favorite poems I'm going to read real quick and then we'll get right into the video is, sometimes I just sit and watch the tides. Sometimes I just sit and watch the sunrise. Sometimes I watch as the moon passes by. And sometimes I wonder, what if man could fly? Sometimes I ponder, what if evil didn't exist? But then I watch the good that suffer and I get pissed. I mean, look at the streets and people. They are cold. No one truly speaks or tries to be bold. Or tell it like it is and let the truth unfold. Remember our true histories and our stories of old. But don't fret and think happy, not doom and gloom. Be aware, humble, loving, caring, and non-consumed. Remember the light's brightest at the end. And when it's over, we will meet again. So this is why I sit and watch the tides. So this is why I sit and watch the sunrise. So this is why I watch the moon pass by. To show mankind the world's a lie. And bring the willing back to the Father's side. Where evil don't exist and has nowhere left to hide. Alright, so this is kind of going to be a quick video. I was talking about the turpentine here. Told you where to get more information on it. I've done it myself. It's proven. You have to make sure you use the right stuff, though. I also put that in my videos. So does other people. That's going to take care of one of the hardest things. The fungus. Like I say in every video. Morgellons is 5 things. It's a fungus, a parasite, bacteria, metal poison, nanotechnology. Each one of them is the worst of the worst. It's the worst fungi. It's the worst bacteria. They found this shit in caves. And originally it was supposed to be the cure-all to everything. Well, guess what? Science got involved and it went from a cure-all to a fucking kill-all. Again, throughout my videos, I kind of tell you how to take care of all that shit. Tony Panteleresco tells you how to cure even more shit naturally. Again, free will. You got to do the research. If you don't treat one of them, it's just going to build right back up. It'll self-reproduce the rest of the shit, except for obviously the metal poisoning. But the rest of the shit, it's all self-replicating. And you're being poisoned on every level, so you'll never cure it. So be wary of anybody that says that they can cure it. No. It's a stigmata. You're suffering. There's no cure. By definition, that's not suffering. Suffering doesn't get better. Yeah. We can make it better, but you'll never cure it. Okay? Unless you stop eating, breathing, drinking. You never cure it. Nanotech. Do some research on pulsar sticks, which is basically just a bunch of freaking magnets. South pole to South pole, North pole to North pole. You push them all together. You wrap them up with tape to hold them in place. You get like 10 of them things. Now you just made a homemade pulsar stick. It'll scramble any signal, depending on the strength of the magnets, from anywhere from like 3 feet to 12 feet, depending on, again, the strength of the magnets. You make 3 of those, no signal around you is getting through. Energy weapons, yeah, they kind of could get through, but like any of the nano and all that bullshit, it's not. You're going to scramble the signals, and that's what you want to do. Nano bucket. Tony Panteleresco also talks about a nano bucket, and basically what you do is you just wrap a bunch of wire, 1 thread, 12, 14 gauge wire around a 5-gallon, bucket, right? Tape it in place, it doesn't matter. You take an old laptop charger, that has a reducer. It takes 120 volts coming out, or 220 volts coming out of your wall, whatever comes out of your wall, and reduces it down to 45 volts. And it also reduces the amperage and everything else. So just by stupidity, you just so happen to get zapped, you might actually survive through this shit. But it's kind of hard to get zapped through it if you do it right. I mean, I've got one sitting right over here. Might make another video when I have a helping hand to actually help display the shit, so I could explain it. To the best of my knowledge right now, the number one thing that's going to kill the fungi, which is what you want to kill primarily the most, is the fungi. Alright, that's the worst of the worst, and it goes straight for the brain. Okay, same with the nanotech, goes straight for the brain. Nanotech starts freaking trying to create like a neural web around your brain, basically, and enslave your mind, just like the fucking Matrix, man. Just like the Matrix. And like I've stated in many videos, the fungus is actually nicknamed the zombie fungus, and it's called that for a reason, because the experiments that they did, it completely took over the hosts and made the hosts do what they normally wouldn't do, and then just stand there till death, and then they just burst open, spore. As you are, a walking, talking spore. All those sores that are on you, those are spores. That's the fungus and nanotechnology busting through your skin. It's the worst of the worst. Meanwhile, the bacteria and the parasites are hidden, in your filtration systems, your bladder, kidney, intestines, liver. Yeah, so if you don't flush that shit out, your body's got to work really hard, and especially because the big corporations that manufacture, your food, your water, all that shit, they're trying to poison you in every way. Every time I turn on the computer here, I see how plastic is being, poisoned in all the bottled drinking water. And by being, exposed to sunlight. Sunlight of all things. The one thing you can't hide from. It's everywhere outside. When sunlight activates the plastic, it drops off plastic particles that build up in the body. And yet we have faith in our fucking government doing the right thing and protecting its people. No, our government's getting ready to fuck its people up. So now I'm starting to get a little pissed off because now I'm hearing, more and more people getting sick with, this Morgellons shit. Humans' version of the stigmata. They hate us so much that they want to torture us in the freaking worst of the worst ways. I haven't quite figured out why certain people get hit harder than others. I know a lot of people that got hit real hard, and then I got a couple of people that haven't gotten hit too hard. Me, I'm somewhere in the middle. I got hit pretty hard, but I've seen people that got hit a lot worse than I did. In fact, I'm actually helping one of them with this turpentine thing, and yeah, it's helping a lot. A lot. Covered almost from head to toe. There's not many of them left at all. That's a big improvement. Yeah, it was a really bad outbreak, so it took almost a month of treatment. But I would say about 75% success rate so far, maybe a little bit less. That's pretty good, man. Now here's another kick in the nuts. This took a long time to build up into the body to the point where you're like, oh shit, something's wrong. And then you go to the doctors and they tell you, no, nothing's wrong. You're mental. Yeah, okay, sure. Right. So I healed myself, and through my videos, I stopped treating myself. Throughout my videos, you can see me getting sicker and sicker and sicker, just like I've stated in several of the videos. And then you can see the last couple of them. Yeah, I've got my health back up. The bags, I don't know what's up with the bags. They'll never leave, I guess. And then I gave myself a nasty scar on this one. Which one? I don't know. One of them. So, close friends of the family, I consider them family. I mean, I've literally known them my whole life. Are sick. Everybody's getting cancer of some form or another, right? Then you got this Morgellons shit that's even affecting animals. A couple people I was talking to were talking about, their dogs. Their dogs are freaking infected with this shit. I have a cat here. Cat's infected with this shit. Every time I pick him up and he tries to purr, it just, you can hear it. So I've been giving him a very small dose of the turpentine mix with the honey, the clove, the cinnamon, and the turpentine. Very small. Actually, I have a dropper. Now, I don't know if it'll show up, but in the dropper, I only fill it maybe that much. Right? Just a little droppity drop. I give it to him twice in a day. In fact, I'll be giving it to him here soon. Now, it's not some awful tasting shit, so, I'm gratefully he doesn't hate it. So when I give it to him, he's like, hey, this is kind of cool, And in 2 days, he started acting like a normal cat again. He was sick. And he's young. He's not even 2 years old, man. He should be running around being all crazy all the time. Yeah. Let's see how crazy he is. It's like first thing in the morning. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Real crazy. Now, when I give him that shit, about 10, 15 minutes, he starts feeling better. Trying to kill everybody. So, I'm not going to try to get into too much crazy stuff really in this one. You got to stop thinking that, you know, how should I put this? I'm only one person. Right. But if you ever seen that Wayne's World movie, you know, if you tell one person and they tell two people and they tell two people and they tell two people and so on, it's a lot of people. So if you're not at least, you know, sharing the information that you agree with and trying to get people to wake up and see, because ultimately, you know, you're right. The more numbers you have that are noticing stuff, the better chances are, you know, right? Right. So stop thinking I'm only one person. And start doing something. Start sharing videos. And here's the thing. You're not supposed to blend in and go with the grain. So if you think you're going to be behind the scenes doing this, there's no behind the scenes, man. Either you're out there right on the front lines, just like myself and several other people, or you're not doing it at all. And now is the time that's so crucial because it's right before. It's right before. Like, you're already setting yourself up. I've already put a bullseye, obviously. That's cool. Torture sucks. Yo, that's some bitch ass shit. And here's another thought. Man, evil must be one scared bitch. Yo, straight up. Must be one scared bitch. I mean, think about all the shit they've done behind the scenes. Why behind the scenes? You're supposed to be so powerful and shit. Why ain't you just out here, you know, running all fucking crazy since day one? Why you gotta be a bitch and do everything behind the scenes? You ever think of that? Because that's the only way they bitch asses can actually pull any of this shit off. And here's the sad part, it actually worked this time. It actually worked this time. By being cowards and doing shit behind the scene. Here's a message to the rest of the truthers. I watch a couple channels on here. Y'all really need to stop arguing about some stupid ass shit. Okay? It doesn't matter who, what, when, why, how, blah, blah, blah. We're supposed to be all in this together. Right? It's us versus them. Not us versus us versus us versus them. That's retarded. You're dividing yourselves. Honestly, it doesn't matter where the message comes from. It's the message that's received. Period. So, if you got these channels out there that are trying to, you know, get you to be, you know, better, think different, think outside the box, think for yourself, doesn't matter how they really go about it. They might not have been targeting you. They might have been targeting other people. I curse a lot, and I may name my videos Morgellons for a reason. Those are the ones that I'm looking for. Those are the ones that are going to be more attuned to what the hell is going on. And because my first word in the title of my videos is Morgellons, only a certain amount of people are going to open those videos. I mean, period. Those are people with Morgellons. Strategic advertising. Now, I used to get pissed off in the beginning when I was doing these videos. You know, why doesn't, you know, all the channels talk about all the stuff? For example, Tony, he talks only about healing. And don't bother trying to email him about the spiritual side of the house. Let's just put that out there. He ain't gonna talk about it. Okay? So, then you do have, you know, the esoteric side. You got Richie from Boston and Anthony Patch and David Icke and all them. I mean, take the information that you can. But then they can't talk about too much else because A, you know, that takes up a lot of time, and B, it was brought to my attention that if they talk about too much, then yeah, bad things will happen. And since certain channels talk about some heavy topics already, they can't push the boundaries. They can't. They just can't. And that actually came to my realization in a, you know, an email that I was replying to. I was like, oh, damn, you know, that makes perfect sense right there. So, because I've asked a couple of them to actually talk about free will and arm people and let them know what free will is, you know, and how to utilize it and the spiritual side of it, you know. If you know something's wrong with the world, you're Neo. You just got to come to the same realizations that he did. And again, like I've stated in other videos, just because the words make sense doesn't mean it clicks. It doesn't click until you start seeing things from different points of view, different perspectives, period. And I will apologize for past videos. I didn't have adequate, you know, equipment to, you know, make the videos like I do now. So the sound is kind of messed up. And then they added even more, you know, background noise and bullshit into it. Yay. But you still got to go back and probably watch it on a computer with a sound system so you can turn the volume up. Because the phone's not going to work. Headphones, yeah, you might be able to hear it pretty good with headphones. But other than that, no. And the difference between meditation and magic, if you haven't watched that, go back to my channel. Look up the difference between meditation and magic parts 1 and 2. Those are my heavy hittens. And then the basics to why is also another really good one. If you haven't studied some, you know, spiritual stuff, like, for example, chakra or chi, kundalini, any of that stuff, I highly recommend you do some research on that stuff. If you don't know how to protect yourself against witchcraft and spirits and shit, you don't know how to utilize salt and chalk, again, go look that up. Okay? Because that might be one of your best weapons in the future. Just saying. I think I pretty much covered all the stuff that I wanted to talk to. Channels, stop fighting. We're not supposed to be fighting amongst ourselves, period. If you're sick, you're not alone. And there's a reason. If you haven't researched the M on your palm and what that means, and how there's an X right in the middle of, you know, the palm where, you know, Jesus was crucified, right? You don't know what the RH blood type is, you might want to research that. There's a reason why you're sick as hell. You're receiving their version of the stigmata. They want to torture you in every way imaginable. And guess what? Just like I stated in other videos, if you go through all the stages of a stigmata, you fucking die. Guess what? If you go through all the stages of Morgellons and you don't treat it, guess what also happens? You fucking die. Period. You fucking die. So again, if you're just one of those people that just say, oh, I'm cured, first of all, there's no cure. Second of all, like I've stated in other videos, you can't free willingly get past some of this shit unless you're a god. Period. The nanotech is designed to go past, you know, your normal thinking and create a normal web. Think about that. Is technology to do what? Enslave your mind. You don't think will is incorporated into that? That's why you have other things like the fungus, the bacteria, and the metal poisoning to fuck you up on other levels. So you're not really worried about, you know, the spiritual side, quote unquote. You're worried more about your health and feeling like shit and hurting. Well, let me tell you something. If you start cleaning yourself with the apple cider vinegar twice daily, as soon as you wake up, go to bed, your body doesn't have to flush that out of your filtration systems. That means your body could be doing other things, like, you know, actually fixing some of the stuff that's hurting. You use the baking soda, throw a little bit of baking soda in some water and drink that and flush the intestines out. You just flush all the bacteria and all that stuff out. Tapeworms, any kind of parasites like that, the turpentine honey will kill all that. And it will draw it out because it's sweet. You know, you hear doctors talking about using sugar cubes back in the past. I use the turpentine. The turpentine is great. It goes good with honey too. The turpentine has a piney flavor. Honey is sweet. The cinnamon has like a spice taste to it, and the clove also has a spice taste to it. And you blend it up, and it's nice. And then when you throw it in with, you know, tea. What? Here's another trick I learned too. Coffee. When you're making a pot of coffee, add clove to the coffee grinds. Right? This shit really does not like clove at all. So if you throw your coffee filter in, you throw your grinds on top, and then you take some crushed clove and you sprinkle it right on top, close the trap, and then hit brew. Yeah, when that water hits the clove, it pushes it through the coffee, man. Yeah, now you're drinking a natural antibiotic. Yeah, that's what cloves are. That's why this shit doesn't like cloves. It doesn't like clove cigars. It doesn't like anything close. So guess what? I use a lot of clove. I smoke them. This thing doesn't really like marijuana either. So if you're in chronic pain, you might want to check into like CBD oil before they freaking deem that shit a poison too. And if they do, there's probably a local drug dealer not that far from your house. Just saying. And as far as being a sin, listen. Suffering is also a sin. Imposed suffering is also a sin. Taking prescribed medications that a doctor's telling you is good for you, but probably causes 17,000 different ailments that they also want to treat and get your money from. Which one? Okay, one has been proven to cure all forms of cancer and help with all sorts of ailments, including some mental instabilities. The other one doesn't cure what your freaking problem is. It just masks it with heavy doses of drugs, which causes a whole wide variety of things like, you know, addiction, you know, liver, kidney failure, you know, list goes on and on. Bigger and better things like actual heroin. So, just because your government tells you it's bad, you're an idiot for trusting your government in the first place. Your government's done some horrific things over the years. Don't believe me? Look up the, the assault on Ruby Ridge. And that whole freaking 2-hour shit. Yeah, I've mentioned other stuff in other videos. Again, you're going to have to go back and watch some of the other videos. Again, in this one, I will post the links to the videos in probably the order you should watch them. And, listen, the fight's coming. When it does, you better stand firm to your beliefs or whatever wording you want to use. Knowing, faith, whatever. You better stand strong. Because they're going to try to break your will in every way imaginable. And that's mainly spiritually. If you falter now, that'd probably be the biggest mistake you've ever made. And that means that me and so other people have failed you. And with that, I just say, I love y'all, man. Be safe. Be strong. Don't give up and don't give in. Alright, man, I'm out.